Hey everybody! So today we're going to do a final copy of our fox drawing. We had a chance to practice drawing it starting with simple shapes, right? And so today, since we've had a chance to practice, we're going to do our final copy and we're going to try and fill the page. So if the last fox you made was a little bit small, my art challenge to you is to try and make it a little bit bigger to fill the page. So we followed a step-by-step drawing, but we might want to make a few changes. So along the way, I'm going to show you a couple different options for things like the eyes and the way the tail is going. So in this drawing, I have the tail overlapping the little feet, so that might be something you want to try because we're going to make a fox in the winter time. Okay. You also might want to make the tail more like this handout shows, just kind of straight up. So either way, I'm going to start with a new paper. I have lightly drawn my fox, but I'm going to go over it in Sharpie to review with you the steps. So we're going to go step by step. Step one, we're going to make this, it's almost like a triangle, but it has a curved top, so almost like a pizza slice or a pie slice, right? So one thing about foxes, though, they don't really have points on the side of their head or their nose. It's not quite that pointy as the handout. So I'm going to round the edges a little bit. So I'm going to make a rainbow curve. And then I'm going to round my corner a little bit and go down and back up. So it's like a V. I just made it a little bit softer at the bottom, not quite a point. Okay. Then I'm going to add the little nose. It could just be a black circle. Then the fox has some white fur on its face. So on both sides of the nose, on the left side and the right side, I'm going to start there and I'm going to go up and curve over. Up and curve over. Okay. On this drawing, I had the eyes open, and so I just did 2 dots for the eyes. You might want to do that too. This time, I think I'm going to try little rainbow lines for the eyes because it gives it a little softer look, like maybe it's just enjoying the breeze on its face and its eyes are closed, or maybe it's sleeping. Okay, so you can choose which one you want to do. Next, we have the ears. The ears are basically triangles, only just like I did with the head shape, I made it a little bit more round. So I'm going to go up and curve just a little bit on the sides. Up and come to a point. Inside the ears, I want to show a little bit of the texture of the fur. So I'm going to follow the curve of the ear with a little bit smaller shape inside, but I'm going to wiggle my line up and down. Okay. Now for the body. On this drawing, I knew that I wanted to overlap the tail with the feet. So I only drew down to here and then I stopped. I did not draw the full, we're going to really draw like an oval shape, but I stopped. I skipped this part. Okay. If I were drawing with a pencil, I could have drawn the whole thing and then erased it later, right? Okay. Or you can plan ahead and you can draw just a little bit of most of the oval rather, and then just skip this tiny little bit. Okay. Another thing you can do is shown on the handout. You can make the tail up. So I'm going to try that on this one. Okay. So this time I know I want the tail coming off to the side, so I'm just going to make a big U shape, or it's almost an oval like I was talking about before. U shape, and it connects with, notice that it connects underneath the eyes. If you make your U shape go too far in, like if it starts here, it's going to make it look like the neck is too skinny. So make sure that you're starting your U right underneath the eyes here. Okay. Then with the tail, I'm going to pick a side. It doesn't really matter which tail the side is coming out of, or which side the tail is coming out of. But I'm going to make a curvy line and swoop up and over, and then underneath, swoop out, and back up. Most foxes have a little bit of white on the end of their tail, so I'm going to make another wiggly line. Okay, and now I can do the feet. Oops, and I just realized that I should not have closed that up because I need to overlap the feet. Okay, so you are drawing with a pencil first, so you can erase this part if you can see the feet. Okay, one more thing. On this handout, there's a straight curved line, right? There's a curved line, but it's not wiggly, right? But I want to show the texture of the fur, so just to be a little bit different. So I'm actually going to go like this. Wiggly line to show some belly fur. Okay, so give your fox a try. You can make it this way. You can make eyes open. You can make eyes closed. And another choice, you can have your tail swooping across, or you can have your tail standing up. Have fun. Okay, so now I want to talk about texture. We've talked about texture this year already. Texture is how something feels. A fox has fur all over its body, right? So we want to show a little bit of the texture of the fur when we're coloring with our crayons. So I picked some colors that I think would be good for fox fur. I have orange, which you mostly want to color with orange probably. And then for some texture detail, we're going to put some lines on top of the orange. You could use brown, you could use red, or you could use a combination. Okay, so the fox has orange, really orangey fur, right? But also might have some white parts on it. Now I showed you a painting that shows you the style of our art project, and you may have noticed that instead of white, the belly was actually a peach color, an apricot color. So I'm going to have you choose, but you can choose to color the white parts in sort of an apricot or a peach color, which is really just a light orange. The reason you might do that is because we're going to show our fox in the moonlight. And if you think about it, when you're out at night, things look a little bit darker, like there's a shadow on it. So peach isn't much darker than white, but it might appear not quite bright white if we're out in the nighttime, okay? So that's something you could try. I think I'm gonna make the legs orange though, just to make them stand out a little bit more, okay? Okay, on top of the orange part that I just did, this part would be orange too, I'm going to add some texture lines. These are just going to be mostly vertical lines, but if you think about fur, all the different hairs are not always in the exact same direction, so they can overlap a little bit. But with my crayon, with my brown or my red, or again, you can use both, I'm just going to bounce my crayon up and down and do some vertical lines. It's not anything too crazy, but it's going to be really light detail that shows the fox's fur. Okay? So in this project, I'd like you to try something new and overlap your colors. Try some texture lines. Okay? So that is step 2 after you have done your fox drawing and traced all your lines with black. Okay, have fun.